Hello NBA fans, and welcome back to another episode here on the NBA The Week That Was. Today I'll be taking a close look at the New York Knicks and explaining how they currently are the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference standings and have completely surpassed preseason expectations. Before I get into the video, it would be great if you guys could hit the subscribe button. Subscribing is completely free and it really helps me out here on the channel. Now, let's get right into the video. Coming into the season, the Knicks were projected to be cellar dwellers in the East, something that Knicks fans have come to accept in recent years. Despite it being team president Leon Rose's first year running the Knicks, he refrained from making too many moves in the offseason. There were no attempts to move up in the draft to grab a more highly coveted prospect, and while Obi Toppin demonstrated a lot of potential at Dayton, he wasn't seen as a franchise-altering pick. Rose did make a move to obtain the draft rights to Emmanuel Quickley, who was the 25th pick in the draft. In free agency, they let go of some veterans who had key minutes in the previous season, but replaced them with similar veteran impact players. These replacements were Austin Rivers, Nerlens Noel, and Alec Burks. With these additions, to go along with a relatively young core and a new head coach in Tom Thibodeau, it was shaping up to be another rebuilding year in New York. Fast forward 2 months and 35 games later, and the New York Knicks sit at 18-17, which has them at the number 4 spot in the Eastern Conference. It shocks me to see them this high up in the standings, but they definitely deserve to be in this position as well. Let's look at their keys to success. First, let's talk about the emergence of Julius Randle as an all-star. Randle has always been seen as a talented big man in the league. Since his early days with the Lakers, Randle has always been dominant in the paint. His interior game is extremely old-fashioned, yet it's really effective. He essentially bullies his way to the basket for easy layups and flushes, and combines those with the occasional post hook or fade. However, that was the extent of his offensive talent. He would rarely take anything outside of 15 feet from the basket, making him ineffective in the league, moving more and more to three-pointers and fast-paced game rather than a post game that was more like the 70s and the 80s. He's always been a good rebounder, but was never a plus defender. He was essentially padding stats with the Lakers team that was also in the midst of a rebuild. When the time came for his contract extension, the Lakers decided to move forward with their new young core of Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and the newly signed LeBron James. They let him walk, and he signed with the New Orleans Pelicans on a 1+1 deal, which meant he could decline his player option in the second year of his contract and sign with a different team. With the Pelicans, he proved that he was more than capable of shooting the 3-ball, shooting league average from 3, which was a big step up from his Lakers days. His dominant offensive play with the Pelicans earned him a 3-year, $62 million deal with the Knicks. While he did well in a statistical sense, the eye test in his first year proved that Randle's numbers were quite empty and did not translate to winning basketball for the Knicks. However, this year Randle has proved himself as one of the premier players in the Eastern Conference. He is averaging career highs in most major statistical categories, including points, rebounds, assists, and 3-point percentage. He's a first-time All-Star this year. Randle is the focal point of Tom Thibodeau's offense. He dominates the paint, especially when young and promising center Mitchell Robinson is off the floor, allowing him to get easy buckets in the paint or from the foul line, while also being able to use his improved playmaking to find the right cutter or shooter. He also takes the occasional 3 and is shooting around 40% from 3, which is quite good for Randle. He has been the main man for the Knicks this year, and he has really proved himself as a legit talent in our league. Second, let's talk about Tom Thibodeau and the way he has improved the Knicks defense as their head coach. The Knicks are currently the number 1 ranked defense in terms of points allowed per game. In typical Thibs fashion, he has instilled a sense of determination, hard work, and work ethic into his team. He plays his team long minutes, and he makes them play those minutes hard, but it has proved successful so far. The Knicks find their defensive success on the perimeter. With guys like RJ Barrett, Frank Ntilikina, and Elfrid Payton, you have disruptors on the perimeter who make it hard for the opposing team to attack to the basket, forcing them into tough shots from 3. If they do get to the paint, they are met by arguably one of the best 1-2 defensive center punches in Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. While both of them have their fair share of offensive struggles, especially on the creative side of things, they are both top centers defensively. Robinson uses his long wingspan to be a blocking machine, while Noel has the uncanny ability to get both blocks and steals in great amounts, something that I've greatly appreciated in my fantasy basketball league. Thibs has used his experience and leadership to will this team of average yet hardworking guys to be the number 1 defense in the league, a crucial key to their success. Lastly, let's talk about these hardworking guys, especially the balance that New York has achieved in terms of youth and experience. The Knicks finally look like they have a promising young core. After a lot of missed draft picks, I would say that this core consists of RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin, and Emmanuel Quickley. I already spoke about Robinson and the impact he has on the defensive end, and if he improves his offensive package, especially in the pick and roll game, I can see him as a slightly worse version of Rudy Gobert, which is really good for the Knicks because they'll have the anchor of their defense in Robinson. Barrett looks to have taken a step forward in the Thibodeau regime. Despite not showing much improvement in a statistical sense, the eye test tells you that he looks much more comfortable on the court and with the pace of the game, especially with the ball in his hands. He's also really shown himself on the defensive end, projecting as a versatile two-way forward moving forward. He still has a lot of potential and will definitely grow, but has been a positive step forward for the former third overall pick. Out of the two rookies, Quickley has looked significantly better than Toppin. Quickley is a deathly floater, arguably already one of the best in the NBA. He's a dynamic 3-level scorer who does struggle with inefficiency, but that is common for most rookies. He projects to be a volume scorer that can get you quick buckets, an essential part of any playoff team. Toppin has struggled to adapt his offensive success from Dayton to the NBA, but I don't think it's something that should alarm Knicks fans, as he has Randle playing in front of him, which bites into a lot of his play time, thus hindering his development. Give him time, he'll be good. To go along with the young core, the veterans are stepping it up. Leading the veteran group is obviously Randle, but with him we have Payton, who despite being a decent defender, provides nothing more than that and should not be starting over the more talented Quickley. Leon Rose made a great move to acquire Derrick Rose from the Pistons. He is a good leader for this Knicks team, but also still provides that scoring and playmaking that made him the youngest MVP ever. Noel has been as advertised as a defensive center. Reggie Bullock continues to make his threes. Alec Burks is yet another volume scorer that has been solid, and Taj Gibson is another veteran big who provides limited yet quality minutes. Thibodeau has found the players that are compatible to his systems, and they are excelling. There are fringe guys like Kevin Knox, Ntilikina, and Austin Rivers who would hope for more minutes, but as of now, they don't really deserve them, and they don't even need them given the fact how well this current rotation has been playing. So overall, the Knicks have surprised us all with the way they've played this year, and with the way Randle is playing, along with their defense, they are not a first-round matchup that any playoff-bound team would want to see when the time comes. And with that, I would like to wrap up this analysis on the New York Knicks here, on the NBA the week that was. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and like the video while you're at it. I'll catch you guys next week on the NBA the week that was. See ya!